Puyo, Sega's second most profitable franchise next to the Blue Pineapple himself, which is pretty impressive when the vast majority of your games fail to be released outside Japan. It's a competitive puzzle series where the goal is to bury your opponent in garbage by creating massive chains of color combinations, and boy is it addictive. Like, I speak as someone who typically doesn't enjoy puzzle games, and I love this series. However, did you know Puyo wasn't always a Sega puzzle series? Because it was originally made by Compile. But before that, it was actually a dungeon crawler RPG hybrid series called Madou Monogatari, or Sorcery Saga, as the one game released in the US is called, but fans don't like to talk about that one. Madou Monogatari was first released in 1989 for the MSX and PC-98. In other words, it had no chance of ever seeing the light of day in the US from the very beginning. It did get a port for Game Gear though, but I can't imagine playing a game like this on a handheld that guzzled 6 AA's in just 3 hours would be very enjoyable. Interestingly, despite the adorable aesthetic the Puyo series is known for, these games can be pretty dark, from straight up decapitation to, oh, okay, yeah, what a beautiful visual, yeah, puzzle game! So in 1996, after Puyo Puyo became a thing and became massively popular in Japan, Compile decided to give us Madou Monogatari again. The Genesis got a remake of the original game. This is actually available on the Japanese Mega Drive Mini, but unless you know Japanese, good luck playing it! Meanwhile, the SNES got the original game reimagined as a traditional overhead RPG, and since it's been translated, this is what we'll be looking at today. I think the TurboGrafx 16 also got a version of the game, but I don't know much about it. I only really know the TurboGrafx as the console that had Rondo of Blood on it. Now, I do own an official copy of this game, but seeing as it was only released in Japan, I'm not actually able to play it, so instead I'll be looking at the fan translation courtesy of AN Genesis. This guy has translated a lot of games, so be sure to take a look at his stuff. Now then, let's see what exactly we're getting into. So in this game, you play as Arl Naja, a 5-year-old who's currently attending the Magic Kindergarten. This game does a good job of making her age clear too, as her dialogue is filled with colorful speech patterns I'd only expect to hear from a kid her age. One morning, Arl receives a mysterious letter written in a strange language. She takes the letter to her grandmother, who reveals that it's a map to find the secret stones. 8 gemstones hidden across the land, which when brought together and taken to the top of the Sage's Mountain will grant one wish. And just in time too, because the kindergarten's headmaster announces that in order to take the final exam, they must find a final exam certificate which has been hidden somewhere in the world. God, imagine if it were really like that in real life, where you had to find a certificate hidden God knows where just to pass kindergarten. The unemployment rate would be staggering. Anyway, Arl decides the easiest solution is to seek out the stones and wish for the certificate. So map in hand and armed to the teeth and all sorts of destructive magic, she sets off on a quest to do just that. It's a pretty basic story. The stones are in possession of many different characters, from a harpy to an elephant guy to the Prince of Darkness himself, Satan. Hilariously, this is the only one to not have a boss fight. Satan just gives you the stone for having dinner with him. It really doesn't take long for her to get them all. However, she does have to deal with a couple of nuisances. First, there's the Skatadara gang, the local neighborhood assholes who are constantly causing trouble, including assaulting a villager for his valuables and bombing the entrance to an area that's off limits. Holy shit, talk about overkill! There's also Devil, a bratty kid who's a completely different character than Satan. This guy pops up on occasion with the desire to fight Arl. At one point, he possesses the headmaster and turns everyone at the school into stone, but after channeling his inner Dracula, Arl quickly puts him in his place. It's all very simple, but it's cute and has a lot of charm to it, which helps keep things interesting. What also helps is the world itself. It's not super in-depth, but it's quirky and has all these bizarre creatures as residents. It's nice, and while I may find the story itself on the basic side, it at least achieves what it's trying to do instead of trying and failing to take itself seriously. Complementing its simple story is a very simply structured game. Every single one of Arl's attacks is magic-based. However, there's a gap between hard magic and soft magic. Soft magic doesn't cost any MP to use and includes basic attack spells like Fire, Ice Storm, and Thunder. Each enemy has its own weakness, and you can typically figure out what that is by watching them react to an attack, where if they take a lot of damage at once, they fly backwards and hit the edge of the screen. Hard magic does cost MP to use and is usually more support-based, including Bioen, which stuns an enemy for 1 turn, which is great for when they get ready to use a charge-based attack, Healing, which is self-explanatory, Jugum, a super powerful attack spell that never works unless it's being used against you, fuck! And my personal favorite, Diacute, a spell that doubles the effectiveness of your next spell, and even better is after upgrading it, you can actually stack Diacutes to deliver an extra powerful attack. What separates this game and other Madou Monogatari games from other RPGs has to be how health works. In this game, you don't have a numbered HP meter, but instead, health is made clear by Arl's expression and dialogue. She's upbeat and energetic when at full health, and clearly on death's welcome mat when her health is low. Every time she takes a hit, she describes how she's doing, which is honestly a good way to describe when you should probably prioritize healing over attacking. Like most RPGs, Arl can equip different weapons to make her magic a little more powerful, but I don't really notice much of a difference between them. Like, they all have their different features and buffs, but I don't really feel much incentive to check them out due to the simple structure of the game. However, the one you should prioritize above all would definitely be the magical ring relay. You really have to go out of your way to get it, but you won't regret it. This item allows you to use a fully powered Daiyouchi without having to stack it. The game is pretty easy on its own, barring a couple areas. Let the fact that there are no status effects and escaping works every time speak for that. But with this in hand, watch the game's difficulty crack in two. It's really satisfying. There are also several plaques located across the world that upgrade specific spells. Get these and watch your fire spell go from a small fireball to a barrage of hellfire that gives me flashbacks to Matrix's stage in Mega Man X5. Each spell can be upgraded 3 times, but the final plaques are a bit difficult to get to because they're sealed behind this door that will only open if you collect the 7 gemstones that are completely unrelated to the 8 stones that serve as the MacGuffins of this game. You'll probably stumble across a couple of them on your own, but you really need to go out of your way to find them all. Unless you're using a guide, the only help you'll be getting is this old lady in the first town who gives hints on their location, and when you get it, Pinotti's flute, which will echo if you play it when a gemstone is nearby. In terms of presentation, it's not bad. Sure, it's not going all out like Final Fantasy VI or Chrono Trigger, but everything is pretty colorful and charming. I love how well animated the battle sequences are for SNES, and speaking of those, I love the banter that Arl has with the enemy before the fight starts to reveal that Arl is kind of an asshole. She truly is a little kid. The music is okay. I like the themes of the Forest of Rainfall and the Dragon Shrine, and I really love the final boss theme, but aside from those, I find most of the songs kind of forgettable. Special exception goes to the boss theme. Not because it's good, but more because it loops so early that you're gonna get sick of it really fast. Madou Monogatari, Big Kindergarten Kids is a nice game that I recommend checking out if you're in the mood for something a little softer. Honestly, I don't think this would be a bad starting point if you're just getting into the genre. It's simple, easy, and also pretty short. If you know what you're doing, you can finish this in about 10 hours without too much trouble. That said, due to this game being Japan only and probably having no chance of ever getting re-released, it's not very accessible, but I still recommend checking it out. If you want more details on the game and how I feel about it, feel free to check out the playthrough I did on Smash Team Games almost a year ago. I guarantee it's worth watching. Until next time everyone, this is Smash the Oni signing off.